Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Now let's just share with you some of those pictures that were sent into our Eyewitness portal. And we can begin with this one from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, showing 6 people, including an infant, on a motorcycle. Our Eyewitness reporter warns passengers and motorcycle operators against such dangerous acts. The next photo was sent in from Brick City, also in Abuja, and it shows the result of a road accident. Our Eyewitness reporter advises drivers to adhere to speed limits. And the next one was sent in from Ogbomoso area of Oyo State. It also shows a road accident involving a fuel tanker. And from Makurdi, the Benue State capital, we have this one showing a dump site within the area. Our Eyewitness reporter calls on residents to stop the indiscriminate dumping of refuse. Finally is this one from Ibadan in Oyo State, showing an overloaded bus. Our Eyewitness reporter says men of the Federal Road Safety Corps should arrest perpetrators of this act.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks a lot for sending in all your pictures, and we ask you to send us some more. Let's move on to legal matters. The Lagos High Court, sitting in the Igboshere area of Lagos Island, has dismissed the preliminary objections filed by Patrick Akpobolokemi, a former Director General of the Nigeria Maritime Administration Safety Agency, and 2 others challenging the jurisdiction of the court. With the dismissal of the objections, the coast is now clear for the trial of the defendants, which has been adjourned to April the 14th and the 20th. And staying in the court, the Federal High Court in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, has granted Yunusa Dahiru bail with stringent conditions. Earlier this month, Yunusa was arraigned over a 5-count charge bordering on abduction, an illicit affair, and rape of a 14-year-old girl, Ese Oruru. The case has been adjourned to April the 19th. We cross over to Abuja now. Let's check in with Linda Akigbe as she continues. Hi, Linda.
Hello, Joma. Thank you for joining us and welcome to Abuja. Now we begin with the Rivers State election. The All Progressives Congress today held a press conference where they reviewed the activities during the rerun elections. The chairman of the party, Mr. Davis Ekanya, told journalists that the party is unhappy with the outcome of the polls. He describes the polls as the worst in the history of the country. In his own press conference yesterday, Governor Nyesom Wike blamed the umpire and the army for cases of violence during the elections. On the arrest of a secretary to the state government, the APC chairman said it was in connection to an assassination attempt where the governor insists the arrest was masterminded by the APC.
The position of APC Rivers State is that the entire rerun election was marred by irregularities, violence, and unlawful interferences by Nyesom Wike, the governor of Rivers State, and members of his government, inadequate security, compromised process, especially with indiscriminate, irregular, and untrained ad hoc staff in some cases, amongst other very serious issues. This position was also corroborated by the resident electoral commissioner himself. We are saying that the entire conduct of this rerun election has fallen far, far below acceptable standard. Whereas we complained about the last general election that saw Nyesom Wike into government house, this particular one is worse. The chief of staff to Governor Nyesom Wike, Chief Emeka Woke, was in that vehicle that led the assassination attempt on our lives. The SSS caught him with somebody identified as a policeman. Later, we heard that the chief security officer of Nyesom Wike was also in the second vehicle, even though he escaped.
What happened is local government. Yes, Margaret is from that local government, so you expect that there will be some kind of challenge. But he said, listen, we can't allow this material. Look at the time. We can. And the minister can say, no, the material. It's just like, well, it's not possible. We're not sure of this result yet. And even if we are sure, look at the time, 3 p.m. How will the materials go to the federal polling units? And then before you start voting, before you talk about the coalition, no, we won't agree. Without respect, they took him and put him in an armored vehicle. Armored vehicle, they put him there. And then he made head news. Secretary to government, aide to the governor, arrested. I said I won't call anybody. I won't even talk to them. Whatever they want to do with him is their business.
Now, for some Nigerians and most election observers, the country is having too many rerun elections, and this may not be too good for the growth of a nation's democracy. Why did INEC decide to suspend all actions on the Rivers rerun, including suspension of announcement of results in local governments where violence was not recorded? To speak about these issues, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by the INEC Director for Voter Education, Mr. Oluwole Osaze Uzi. Mr. Uzi, thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you for having me.
Now, what exactly went wrong, really, in the elections, the rerun elections in River State?
Well, I believe that the political class decided not to play by the rules. They seem to, by their actions, suggest that they thought that the bullet was bigger and more effective than the ballot. So it was clearly an attempt to subvert the will of the people, either deliberately, mischievously, or as a result of a clear misunderstanding of the processes which we had taken time to explain to them severally on numerous occasions. And they tried to subvert the will of people. They didn't play by the rules. They stopped also tried to prevent INEC from undertaking the exercise in accordance with the Constitution and electoral law.
Now, I know last week before the elections, you were on the news at 10 and
yes.
you assured Nigerians, INEC assured Nigerians that was working with the security agencies to ensure that there's law and order and peace in the peaceful conduct of the River State election. And that didn't happen, despite these assurances, that you were going to work with, INEC was going to work with the security agencies. So what happened?
We did work with the security agencies. Don't forget, the INEC as an electoral management body, its job is to ensure the materials get to polling units. Things start on time and the rules are obeyed in the conduct of the elections. The issue of security are left to other stakeholders, but we acted as a catalyst and as a glue, as it were, bringing all the security agencies together under the umbrella of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Electoral Security. And within their own powers and resources, they did what they had to do and gave those assurances that they were prepared. We had no reason to doubt. But the level of subsequent level of violence showed that the build-up was there anyway. But the assurance, we talked to the politicians as well, and they gave their own assurances that they were ready for the elections, and were taken aback.
Now, bear in mind now, there is no provision for a rerun. So what next? What's the situation now?
Well, I don't know that there's no provision for a rerun. We're doing a rerun based on the court orders because of perceived malpractices as judged by the tribunals and the courts. So, and unfortunately, some of these things repeated themselves. And we had to stop because there was a clear and present imminent danger of a complete breakdown of law and order. Even in those places where there were threats, there was intimidation, and we had to carry out the staff audit. Several of our staff, both permanent and ad hoc, were missing. Regrettably, 1 or 2 died, there were 1 or 2 fatalities, and we did not want to expose voters, the collation officers, the media, the accredited observers, and our staff. We didn't want to continue to expose them to such dangers. And to be fair to the security agencies, if they had been high-handed and taken probably reprisal actions or actions they probably ought to have taken, we probably would have recorded more fatalities. And under the circumstances, we just could not continue.
So what next? What do we expect now?
Well, it has been suspended, and we're awaiting the field reports. The commission will meet on Wednesday, 2 days' time, with the resident electoral commissioner and all the supervisors and monitors who were on the field will take their reports, and the commission will issue a public statement as to what next will happen. But for now, it stays suspended until we are satisfied. I think basically we will need certain basic guarantees and assurances. I don't know how long that will take, but until calm and peace is restored to Rivers State, the Commission will issue a statement on that when it's likely to, what's likely to be the next path it will take.
So for now to the foreseeable future, won't have lawmakers from the Rivers State House of Assembly?
Well, there are, not all seats in the Rivers State House of Assembly were
and
affected by this, and national, not all seats were affected. The 3 senatorial seats were affected, and we were not opportune to declare result in any of the 3 senatorial districts. Only one of the federal house seats was declared, so there will be vacancies for a while. But the State House of Assembly, we've declared 9 of them. So those ones, and in addition to the other ones, are not affected by the orders of the courts, then they can still sit, but we will not expose anybody to danger. When we know the danger is foreseeable, we will not do that.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Osaze Uzi, for joining us on News at 10.
Thank you.
Now, that's all from Abuja. Back to you in Lagos.
Thanks a lot, Linda. Now, when the News at 10 returns, business and financial leaders as well as heads of agencies converge on Abidjan for the 2016 Africa CEO Forum. And that will be on business. Just stay with us.